The purpose of judgment versus evaluation. I want you to think about this a little bit. What do you think the purpose of knowing the difference of judgment versus evaluation is going to be? And this is a bit more of a deep dive type thing. Well, people say, well, there is a difference. One's judging and one's evaluating, and there's a little different. Some people blend the two and they're very fuzzy and they make them overlap. And what I'm trying to do is disentangle the mess between judgment and evaluation. The purpose of knowing the difference here is so that a person can create alignment, both internal alignment with their intention and behaviors, and also external alignment where they can align with other people more easily. They can see a physical behavior and they can describe that behavior to somebody else. And by doing that, they create an effective way of naming and labeling what's happening to them in front of them. And we've gone into naming and labeling before on an earlier mind model called webinar. And that is a big deal, because if we can shorten down our way of naming and labeling things to a 1 or 2 word or very short phrase, under 5 words label for that event or that scenario, whatever that is, if we can get it down to 1 word, and that people within seconds or a second understand that meaning, like judgment, evaluation, people understand those words. We have pre-existing meanings in our mind for those. Sometimes they're a little overlapped in behaviors, but the meanings are usually a little bit different and somewhat overlapped. Well, the more that we can align evaluation to evaluation and judgment to judgment, the more effective we can be by far. One of the things that just continues to amaze me is how many people beat themselves up on a daily basis. In fact, sometimes even on an hourly basis, where they are judging themselves for what they say and do. And they are so brutal to themselves that other people around them don't even want to give them feedback or point any point of any gap that they're doing in their life, something that's ineffective. They don't want to point that out to people because they're concerned that that person will take it and really beat the crap out of themselves. So it becomes problematic giving these individuals feedback simply because they're so hard on themselves. Well, that's not exactly an effective way of living. And I don't know if you guys notice my language pattern, and I'm using what I taught last week, effective and ineffective language. I'm actually walking my talk here. This is the way I talk now, because constantly going right, wrong, good, bad does not, it promotes judgment. And I want to create, as best I can, a non-judgmental environment for myself and the people around me. That's my intention. That's what I attempt to do on a moment-by-moment basis. And I found no better way to do it than to monitor my own language and recognize when I'm making and referencing judgmental language. So that's one of the key things, because the whole mind model of evaluation versus judgment is to provide an effective tool to evaluate and to remove all the stuff that would cause a person to have their judgments clouded by ineffective emotions. There are effective emotions and there are ineffective emotions. And I'm going to get into that a little bit today. I should really do an entire webinar talk on that, because that's another deeper subject there. But it's highly effective when people know how to master their emotional selves without giving up emotions at all. You can be highly emotional, but have highly effective emotions, or you can be very emotional and have your emotions control your destiny, your life, everything about it. We're not trying to remove emotions. We're trying to figure out where do they actually work effectively in our life. And mind models help me discover where they actually fit on a predictable basis in people's lives that do not get them all messed up.